Let's start out with a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a little background music.
Yeah, just want to shut it down.
Okay, Jackie, if we could have the roll call.
Chair Klowitter,
Here.
Commissioner Lee, Commissioner Krapman, Commissioner McMorris, and Commissioner Schwartz.
Okay, let's see. Tonight's meeting is live streamed on Cable Channel 3 and on the city online platforms. To prevent any overlaps in comments, each commissioner will be called upon to speak. Same drill. Anyway, public comment. Do we have anybody in the audience who has any items that are not on the agenda? I don't see anybody. Okay. We'll pass on that. Oh, that's not on here. Okay. All right, we're going to back up just a minute, and it is in the right order. Okay. So we do that before we do the consent calendar? Okay. Okay, so it comes to my attention that we don't have a vice chair, and we need one. I'm going to open it up for nominations.
I think the most experienced person is Jerry, right? So I would nominate Jerry.
Okay. Any other nominations? I'll second that. Okay. Can we do a roll call? Do we need a public comment? Okay.
You are taking actions?
Anybody? Okay, we'll close the public comment. All right. And since I don't think we need to discuss this, we'll just take it right to the vote.
Commissioner Lee, Commissioner Krapman,
Aye.
Commissioner McMorris, and Chair Klowitter.
Yes.
Oh, and Commissioner Schwartz.
Come on, Jer.
Okay, the vote is 5-0. Motion carried. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jerry. Okay, now we go to the consent calendar. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the November meeting? Okay, and move approval. Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, Jerry. Jackie will do this again.
Okay. Chair Klowitter,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee, Commissioner Krapman, Commissioner McMorris,
Yes.
and Commissioner Schwartz, or Vice Chair, Commissioner, Vice Chair Schwartz.
It's going to take some
Yes.
getting used to.
Sorry, apologize. The motion is 3 yes, 1 abstention. 4 yes, 1 abstention. Vote is 4 to 1 abstention. 0-1. Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
And just for the record, Lee was not on the commission for the last meeting, so that's why that was. Okay. Let's see, we've got a general plan progress report. And, I'm sorry?
I think that's also on consent.
Oh, okay. Good. All right, moving on. Sam, for the public hearing. Just to review, we have approved the consent calendar. Actually, before that, we elected Jerry as the vice chair. And we are now to item A, which is the general plan housing element annual progress report. Sam, are you taking this?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, you're up.
Yes, Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. Item A is the city's annual housing progress report that is required by the Department of Housing and Community Development, HCD, and also by state housing laws. This housing progress report falls within the current 6th housing cycle, which covers the period between 2021 to 2029. And this report is considered the second. There was a little bit of an overlap in 2021 since the 2021 period also fell within the 5th housing cycle. So 2021 also falls within this housing cycle, and 2022 is the full report since the adoption of the current general plan. This report will be, again, the second of the 8-year planning period and summarizes the number of units permitted and approved in 2022. So that was the previous year. And the annual housing progress report is utilized by the state to track and monitor a city's progress in addressing the regional housing needs allocation, or the RHNA. This table here, and it's a little bit small, but generally it's to summarize what a completed table would look like within the 8-year period. This is the 5th cycle RHNA, and generally the last allocation that was assigned to the city in the 5th cycle was 940 units. By the end of the 8th year, 478 units were permitted, which is 50%. Of the units allocated, and again, this was in the past cycle for the years 2013 to 2021. Now this one, the table is also small, but it's provided as attachment B to the staff report, this table shows the numbers that have been permitted up to last year, which is 2022, Again, it also includes permitted and approved units, and then 2029 will be the last reporting year for the 6th housing cycle. And as shown in the table, in 2021, 31 units were permitted, and in 2022, 82 units were permitted. Some highlights of this report includes just general information that the housing report requires cities to report units that have been approved or entitled, but only the ones that are permitted in the year are counted towards the RHNA allocation. And the total number of units permitted in the past 2 years is a total of 113 units, which equates to 3% of the current allocation, which is 3,023 units for the city of San Gabriel. Accessory dwelling units continue to make up a large percentage of the housing allocation received for review and approvals, and ADUs are being counted towards the affordable housing percentage due to their relatively small size and also the configurations of the units. Sometimes the size only allowing for studio layouts or 1 bedroom, and typically it's not until a unit reaches up to 1,000 square feet would staff see a 2-bedroom accessory unit. And in some cases, these accessory units can be counted towards extremely low income, since these units may be occupied by extended family members with no or low rent charge. So that concludes staff's presentation. It's brief. Again, we're only reporting for the past 2 years. 2021 may be relatively lower. Again, development was still under the pandemic, and there's an obvious rise in the past year in 2022. And with that, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution of the City of San Gabriel, California, recommending that the City Council direct staff to submit the housing report to the Department of Housing and Community Development. This concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Sam. So we did see a substantial uptick in 22 over 21. So that's encouraging. State numbers are still pretty daunting. But you know what? We're doing the best that we can. Do we have any commissioner comments? Do we open this up to public? Okay. Any questions? Yeah. Go ahead, Jer.
Units by structure type, 82 entitled, 82 permitted, 0 completed. Are any of them underway?
As in completion of construction?
Are any of them under construction?
Oh, that's a good question. Staff doesn't have the percentage or the number this evening.
Because you only gave yourself 3 categories.
Correct.
You didn't give a construction.
Correct, yes. So the tables are provided by the state to populate, and this is to identified approved projects that have been reviewed, and then also when permits are issued. But there is not a requirement to follow up with inspections as to determine whether or not construction has began.
Because it's one thing if a developer says, I don't have the money right now to build 10 units. It's another thing if we approve 59 ADUs and not a single one is under construction. That's a whole different statement than a multi-unit project. So that's why I was curious if any of them were underway.
I'm seeing them under construction.
You are?
In our, where I travel, yeah. Handful,
Okay. Thank you.
but that's just an observation. It's nothing official. Anybody else before we open it up to the public? Go ahead.
Yeah, I had some questions about how we're counting all ADUs as low income. Just the methodology is because of their size. And I know they're not deed restricted, so it's harder to verify, but is there any way that the city, presumably we know because the applications have been approved? Again, some of them probably aren't built yet, but we're still counting them towards our low income. Is there any way that we can better verify whether they're, because some of them we may be able to put towards our extremely low income if they're being rented like to family members at a very low price. Likewise, some of them may be, I know lots of studios that are above the the cost of what is affordable to most people. So our methodology is just kind of assuming and then just lumping them all in as low income. Is there a way, have other cities, or is it possible for us to some way do a survey or something every 2 years to request what the rents are, or if they're vacant, so that we can properly allot them to our housing allotments in RENA?
Go ahead.
Sam, I think that obviously a survey is possible if there's staff time and fund and budget for it. Recognizing that there is no verifiable way to know whether or not the answers to the survey are accurate. Absent restriction agreements on any piece of property, city really has no way of mandating or verifying how much somebody charges for rent or how much they should charge for rent.
Sure, I understand that, but then in that same degree, we are lumping them all into our affordable housing, so I think it's important that we attempt to do something to try and verify other than just assume every ADU that's going to be built is going to be a low-income unit.
They are, under the state law, they are allowed to be counted as low-income units.
Okay, well, I don't know if I can just make the recommendation, but I think it would be good if we can do some type of survey or inventory just to get a more accurate count, just to be for the sake of our inventory and our low-income residents.
Well, that's certainly, again, something that A, is not agendized, B, I think the discussion internally with the management and whether or not, what are the costs and potentially bring it back to the commission and
Right. yeah,
having a
that-
discussion about that.
That would just be a request from staff for I don't even know if it's a report. It would just be following up on the numbers that we have here. That's part of the package that goes to the state.
That's correct.
Right. So, I guess the first question would be, is that possible? And you don't have to answer it now.
I'm the
Let's look
only,
into it.
yes.
Okay? Yeah. So we'll put that on you to come back and let us know what's up with it. Okay? Get your mic on. There you go.
Quick questions. Do we know what's the impact on the infrastructures, like approving all these ADU? Because whenever we put something up to the existing infrastructure, there is some impact on it, right? So I don't want it that the impact be on the general public, on the general funds. So do we know like anything about that, studies or anything like that?
The only thing that staff can say is similar to any type of construction, if there are facility upgrades that are required as part of either new construction or converting a structure, that would be a part of the building plans and the building permits to make sure that the facilities are available to the new unit.
Are you asking about sewers and
Sewers
that
and
kind of thing?
electricity, all these infrastructures, right? So let's say like, but the ADUs are small, right? So there would be very minimum impacts, right? If we have multi-units, like dwelling units that we are approving, those gonna be impacting on the existing infrastructure, right? So there might be like some kind of requirements to fix near like the vicinities only, right? But overall, like at some points, there will be some kind of like retrofitting to the sewer system, retrofitting to the electrical infrastructures, and that is going to be on the general fund, on the general public.
Actually, a lot of that is happening already. We've had the city engineer come and report to us, because the question came up a couple of years ago with all the development through the Valley Boulevard specific plan, which kind of opened the door to that development. And then, we're seeing the hotels going in, and, there are fees that are charged to them, to the developer. The city brings those fees in, and then they go back and they study the sewer systems. And right now they're retrofitting the sewer systems, or replacing them. I guess it's not even a retrofit. But from their report to us a couple of years ago, that was all in the works. And it's not just the general fund that pays for that. A lot of that is done through grants and funding through the federal government, that type of thing. So if you want to add to that.
Yes, I mean, the only additional thing that staff would add is, in addition to building permit fees, depending on the type of project, development impact fees are also charged to a permit. And information about that is provided typically as part of the budget information, as far as the amount of development impact fees that are collected from projects.
Thank you. Like the last thing that personally I don't want to see is like, on the property tax, there's another bond that I have to pay.
The sewer bond, yes. That's an important one. Actually, the city engineer is really a good guy, and he's all over this. So, yeah, he's on top of it. But might make sense, since we're going through these general things that are reports that are going to the state. It might be a good time to bring him in again, and just give us a kind of a temperature update on what's going on in the city, especially since we've had 3 years of just pandemic. A lot of things haven't happened, so it'd be kind of nice to get in front of them again, or in front of us. Okay. Public hearing. We'll open that. If there's anybody in the audience who wants to speak to this, no speaker cards. We'll close the public hearing and open it up for discussion before we entertain a motion. Anybody else? My 2 cents on this is it's a kind of a snapshot in time, and this is, this will be a much different report next year, I think. And I'm real curious though with the ADUs that are going in, because kind of following up on what I was saying about Jerry, is I'm seeing a lot of construction in the neighborhoods. So there's obviously something going on, and I don't think it's all just typical additions. I think they seem to have front doors, and there's garages being converted and all kinds of things. So my guess is that those are ADUs. Anyway, yeah. So I don't see any problem with this report going forward. Anybody else?
There's one thing that the state's gonna have to reckon with, it appears, on a broader scale, and that is with the tough financial times in terms of larger projects. Aside from construction that LA is doing for homelessness, I don't know that a lot of projects around the state are gonna get done right now. And so a lot of communities that work really hard at this, like we do, are just gonna, are gonna fall short through no fault of their own. And so, the state's gonna have to reckon with this
Yeah.
down the road.
And that's something that we have to justify as we report year after year.
Right.
This is the progress. This is what we're doing. This is where we fell short. But that bar's pretty high. It's
Yeah, that's right.
yeah. So I'm sorry, but we're gonna do the best that we can.
Right.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, just the city's obligation is to ensure that there is the zoning and available land for those units to be developed. City does not bear the responsibility, even if in the eyes of the state, for actually putting those units up and building them. As long as we do our part and minimize any discretionary approvals on these units, provide the zoning to make those units, to make the land available for somebody to build them, we have done our part of it. The other part of it belongs to the developers and the industry. And as times get better, hopefully, they'll continue to build.
Right.
That's a good reminder. That was something that the consultants talked about as the housing element was being, as they were updating us on the process, that very point. So it's a point well made, to be reminded.
Well, and there's also a downside if you don't comply, if you don't make the effort. And there's there's some local communities that are they're yeah, that was in the newspaper this week. I followed that closely, without naming names, but yeah, they're you don't play the game, you might get sued. So anyway, it's a fine line to go down.
Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to recommend that the commission approve the process or the recommendation, make a recommendation to send this on to the council for them to file, for it to be filed on behalf of the city with their approval.
Okay, I'll second that, Jerry. Can we have a vote?
Commissioner McMorris?
Yes?
Commissioner Krupman?
Yes.
Commissioner Lee? And Vice Chair Schwartz?
Yes.
And Chair Cloetter?
Got it, yes.
Okay, 5-0, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Our next item is planning case number CUP 23-001. This is for a conditional use permit at 500 East Valley Boulevard, Suites A and B, and the applicant is Li Zhu of Hengzhu Chili King. Is this the right one? Okay, these two are so close. Yeah, it was easy to preview. Marlon, you're up.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. The public hearing item before you tonight is for a conditional use permit to allow for the on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine, which is for a Type 41 alcoholic beverage control license at a proposed restaurant located at 500 East Las Tunas Drives, Suites A and B. This is planning case number CUP 23-001. The proposed project is located at the southeast corner of Valley Boulevard and Walnut Street in a new 5-unit commercial center as shown here. The subject property is located in the MU/C or mixed-use corridor zone of the Valley Boulevard specific plan area and has a general plan land use designation of commercial specific plan. The restaurant is located in Suites A and B of a new commercial center. The combined tenant spaces measure a total of 2,120 square feet. The proposed restaurant will occupy 2 of the 5 tenant spaces in the building. Currently, only 1 space within the building is occupied by a tea shop, and that's the one on the end there, Unit E. All remaining spaces are currently undergoing tenant improvement for restaurants. The proposed use will be a full-service restaurant called Hangzhou Chili King, which specializes in Hunan-style cuisine. The restaurant is currently operating at 534 East Valley Boulevard in Suites 2 and 3. However, the owner is looking to relocate to the subject property as it has more parking available for their patrons. Hours of operation for the restaurant are Monday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., which comply with city regulations regarding alcohol service. The restaurant will serve full meals during regular business hours and does not propose any live entertainment. San Gabriel Municipal Code Section 153.162 states that in determining whether to approve a CUP application for alcoholic beverage sales, the Planning Commission shall consider the nature and use of real property within 500 feet of the use, and in particular, the location of similar nearby uses and the location of residences, parks, schools, and churches. The proposed business is located within a commercial building. The properties directly to the north and south of the project site are also zoned MUC and are a mix of commercial shopping centers and single-family homes. Properties to the east and west are also zoned MUC and feature a variety of commercial uses. Other uses within a 500-foot radius include offices, nail salons, single and multifamily residences, and other restaurants. Planning staff and the San Gabriel Police Department have included additional conditions of approval found in Attachment A, Exhibit 1 of your Planning Commission binders to ensure that the proposed use will be compatible and harmonious with its surrounding uses. Conditions of approval include the limitation of business hours to no later than 10 p.m., that beer and wine shall be served only in conjunction with food, and that management shall take appropriate measures to ensure that patrons and employees do not disturb neighbors. Additionally, the police department is requiring the installation of video surveillance system and a centrally monitored alarm system that management shall immediately notify the San Gabriel Police Department of any crimes that occur inside the location, or if any area is under control of the management, or to any patrons of the location at the request of any patrons of the location. The general plan land use designation is commercial specific plan. This land use designation allows all uses permitted by the general commercial permitted by the general commercial designation, including retail, service, office, recreation, amusement, and other commercial businesses which provide goods and services for the local population and those businesses which are targeted towards visitors and commuters. The proposed use also supports the following goals of the city's general plan. Hangzhou Chili King will offer Hunan-style cuisine that would benefit from the addition of beer and wine to be served to complement the dining experience. Economic goal 4.2, the restaurant use with beer and wine sales will allow an existing restaurant to relocate within the city limits. Additional parking at the subject location would also increase the number of potential diners. In addition to the required findings for the issuance of a conditional use permit, a finding of public convenience and necessity is also required due to the subject site being in a census tract that is determined to be over-concentrated by the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control. The threshold in the census tract is 3, 8 licenses for alcoholic beverages currently exist. The required findings are found on the screen there. The project was reviewed for compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. This project is exempt from CEQA per guidelines section 15301, class 1 for existing facilities. The item was noticed at the project site, advertised in the March 2nd, 2023 edition of the San Gabriel Sun, and a notice was sent to all property owners and tenants within a 500-foot radius. Tonight's agenda was also posted at City Hall, the post office, and the public library. Finally, staff recommends that the commission adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Gabriel approving planning case number CUP 23-001 for a conditional use permit at 500 East Valley Boulevard, Suites A and B, to allow for the on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine, and grant the determination of public convenience and necessity at a proposed restaurant, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. That concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, thanks, Marlon. Do we have any questions for staff? Jerry?
Staff report says that these people, that the applicant already operates a restaurant in different locations.
That's correct.
Does that mean they already deal with the police, the list of police requirements that are in this staff report that you highlight here? About the videos of cooperation with the police department, et cetera? Notification if any crime takes place?
So these conditions are typically issued when a conditional use permit is granted. I don't know if their current location has a conditional use permit. There are certain restaurants in the city that operate as legal non-conforming uses, meaning they've held alcohol or ABC licenses prior to the requirement of CUPs. It could be that this location was one of those. So I'd have to go back and look, but I can provide you that information.
Whether this is new for them or something they already do.
Okay.
Good question. Did they have a license before at their prior location?
The prior location does have an ABC license. I can't confirm whether they obtained a CUP at the time of when they began operations.
Great. Is the applicant here?
Yes, there.
Okay, would you like to come up and answer a few questions?
Hi, my name is Jason. So I'm a represent Hangzhou Chili King restaurant, and is currently under operation. So just next door, like by walk, 1 minute. So they do have a Type 41 license so far, and they've been open for almost 18 years. So no trouble at all, and yeah, a very delicious restaurant, sells spicy food, and now they're trying to get a nice place, which is next door and has more parking lot and very secure with 2 gate and surveillance around the brand new building. The landlord is very nice guy, and yep, pretty much that's it. Yeah.
Okay, and you were able to review all the conditions of approval, and you don't have any problems with those?
No. Yeah.
Very good. Any questions? Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for choosing the San Gabriel and staying in the San Gabriel. That's very, very great. I went out there this afternoon and I take a look at the sites. It is very beautiful.
Yeah.
It is a great improvement and additions to our city. I personally thank you for that. But I think there is some opportunity for us to work together as a partnership. What I mean is if we can bring a little more greenery to the streets, right next to the buildings, that would be great. This is some empty spaces that we can kind of have a partnership with the cities and then with the business owner to kind of plant some trees or some landscaping going. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. I think staff could make that recommendation also to ownership? To the property owner? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how far along they are with the project itself, but as far as landscaping and things. That's something that we haven't seen, so.
The building itself, the construction is completed, but as to adding additional greenery, that can always be accomplished in the form of planters or any addition that the business may like to incorporate as an identity to their business, but it's something that staff can also monitor and discuss with the property owner. But it is a completed project. What's new would be the tenant improvement on the inside of the building.
Yeah, I can see like it is kind of like 90% done, right? So what I see out there is on Valley, it might not be like big shady trees we can add, but on the side streets on Walnut, we can have a tree or two in the close vicinity to have a partnership with the city. You know, like that is what I'm here like to want to see great partnership with the city, with the private enterprises.
Great.
One additional thing.
Okay.
The parking lot seems a little small, but we are adding two like kind of like popular restaurants to the city. Is that the parking spaces? We already analyzed it, and then it is kind of like per guidelines.
So the parking requirement for restaurant uses at this location, as part of the Valley Boulevard specific plan, is a ratio of 1 space per 100 square feet. When the center was developed, it was actually developed with that in mind, for all 5 spaces to be restaurants, so sufficient parking was provided. I believe there are about 54, 55 spaces as the building measures, about 5,000, a little over 5,000 square feet.
Okay. No, I mean like if the restaurant, as we all know, like if the restaurant is very popular, the parking is not going to be enough, right? So we kind of have to think about a alternative way of providing them like off-site parking or something like that.
Right. Ideally, based on their parking requirement, 22 spaces are required. So based on the Mission District specific plan, that would be adequate to meet their capacity.
The Valley Boulevard.
Yeah, Valley Boulevard specific plan, sorry.
Okay, awesome. Since you're on the podium, can I ask you a quick question about this sentence right here? In the subject census tract, right, the on-sale license is 3. Currently, this census tract has 8 on-sale licenses. Is that, are we over the limit?
It's not a limit, it's really for determining over-concentration, which requires the making of the finding for a public convenience of necessity. So there's no hard limit that says you can't exceed this number. This is just based on the county average of licenses per census tract based on the population in each census tract.
Just for the record, like the county recommend to have 3 and then we are having 8?
It's not necessarily a recommendation, it's just the ratio of licenses to the specific population in each census tract, averaged throughout the county. So the average is 3, or based on population density.
Yeah, and it's set by the state, not by the county.
Correct.
It's the ABC. You also have to take into consideration the location. Valley Boulevard, heavy commercial, zoned mixed use, as I recall on this. And these are restaurants. We want to get these restaurants, and we want to keep these restaurants. So that's kind of the point.
There is also an attached list with all 8 licenses listed on there, and they are, like Chair said, they are all restaurants. They're all Type 41 licenses.
Unfortunately, that was illegible.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
In the staff report, it was, we're going to have to take your word for it.
All right.
Okay, all right, we'll close that portion, open it up to the public. Speaker, one more? Who? John.
I was just going to echo what my fellow commissioner said, that we're San Gabriel's well known for their Asian cuisine and culture. So you've been here a long time, and it looks like you're doing well because you're moving to a new space. So just want to thank you for your business and wish you all the success.
Thank you so much.
Great. Okay, Any speakers? Public hearing? Nope. Okay, we're going to close that. Any discussion here? Okay. Let's, okay. I'll move to adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission for case number CUP 23-001 for a conditional use permit to allow on-site beer and wine or on-sale alcohol for proposed restaurant at 500 East Valley Boulevard, Suites A and B, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Matt, I think you beat him. Okay, so we'll open that. I know.
Okay, let's do a vote. Commissioner McMorris,
Yes.
Commissioner Kratman? Yes. Commissioner Lee? Yes. Vice Chair Schwartz?
Yes.
And Chair Cloeter.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0, motion carried.
Congratulations. Okay, best of luck to you. Okay, you're not seeing double. We have our next item is planning case CUP 23-002 for a conditional use permit at 500 East Valley Boulevard, Suite C and D, right next door. And the applicant is Yang Ji, Foodaholic Skewer. And Marlon, let's do this again.
Okay, thank you, Chair. As you mentioned, the public hearing item before you tonight is for the tenant space right next door for conditional use permit to also allow for the on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine at a proposed restaurant located in Suites C and D of 500 East Valley Boulevard. The case number for this application is CUP 23-002. The proposed project is located also at the southeast corner of Valley Boulevard and Walnut Street in this new 5-unit commercial center. The subject property is located in the mixed-use corridor zone of the Valley Boulevard specific plan and has a general plan land use designation of commercial specific plan. The restaurant is located in Suites C and D of the new commercial shopping center, and the combined tenant spaces measure a total of 2,141 square feet, so slightly different than the previous one. The proposed restaurant will also occupy 2 of those 5 spaces. The proposed use will be a full-service restaurant called Foodaholic Skewer, which specializes in hot pot and barbecue. Hot pot is a Sichuan-style cuisine that is prepared with a pot of simmering seasoned soup stock, and contains an array of ingredients, including thinly sliced meat, dumplings, tofu, and vegetables. Hours of operation for the restaurant are the same as the previous restaurant, Monday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Again, this complies with the city's regulations regarding alcohol service. The restaurant will also serve full meals during regular business hours and does not propose live entertainment. The municipal code requires, in determining whether to approve a CUP application for alcoholic beverage sales, that the Planning Commission consider the nature and use of real property within 500 feet of the use. The proposed business is located within a commercial building directly to the north and south of the project. Those properties are also zoned MUC and are a mix of commercial shopping centers and single-family homes. Properties to the east and west are also zoned MUC and feature a variety of commercial uses. Other uses include nail salons, single and multifamily residences, and other restaurants. Planning staff and the San Gabriel Police Department have included similar conditions as the previous restaurant to ensure that the proposed use will be compatible and harmonious with the surrounding uses. Conditions of approval again include the limitation of business hours to no later than 10 p.m. The beer and wine shall only be sold in conjunction with food, and that management shall take appropriate measures to ensure that patrons and employees do not disturb neighbors. The police department is also requiring the installation of video surveillance system and centrally monitored alarm system, and that management shall immediately notify the San Gabriel Police Department of any crimes that occur inside the location or in any areas under control of management. The general plan land use designation is a commercial specific plan. This land use designation allows all the uses permitted by the general commercial designation, including retail, service, office, recreation, amusement, restaurants, and other commercial businesses which provide goods and services for the local population and those businesses which are targeted towards both visitors and commuters. The proposed use also supports the following goals of the city's economic general plan, or excuse me, city's general plan economic goals 4.1 and 4.2. Foodaholic Skewer will offer a Sichuan-style cuisine that would benefit from the addition of beer and wine to be served to complement the dining experience, and will create new opportunities for local patrons and visitors to enjoy Sichuan-style cuisine within San Gabriel. In addition to the required findings for the issuance of the conditional use permit, a finding of public convenience and necessity is also required due to the subject site being in a census tract that is determined to be over-concentrated by the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control. The required findings can be found on screen. The project was reviewed for compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. This project is exempt from the Environmental Quality Act per guidelines section 15301 for existing facilities. The item was also noticed at the project site, advertised in the March 2nd, 2023 edition of the San Gabriel Sun, and a notice was sent to all property owners and tenants within a 500-foot radius. Tonight's agenda was also posted at City Hall, the post office, and the public library. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Gabriel approving planning case number CUP 23002 for a conditional use permit at 500 East Valley Boulevard, Suites C and D, to allow for the on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine and grant the termination of public convenience and necessity at a proposed restaurant, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. That concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, thanks, Marla. So this is a new restaurant.
This one is a new restaurant, yes.
Any questions? Nope, okay. Is the applicant here?
Same applicant.
Same person.
Okay, just different food.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes it easy. Okay. Public comment? No. And we'll close that. And, okay, any discussion or? Okay. There, yeah, these will kill you at that 6:30 meeting. Okay, we'll entertain a motion. Anybody?
I move to approve.
Okay. We have a second.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. Jackie, a vote?
Commissioner McMorris?
Yes.
Commissioner Crabman? Yes. Commissioner Lee? Yes. Vice Chair Schwartz? Yes. And Chair Cloeter? Yes. 5-0, motion carried.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Congratulations.
Okay.
I have one question. When do you guys open? When's the grand opening?
Probably like middle in April. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
But so far, we have a little bit problem for the C&D from building department, and we're trying to fix that, and then we can open sooner. Yeah.
Marlon's going to get right on that.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. You don't have to say, you can leave.
Okay.
Okay, moving along here. That's it. Okay. Let's see, do we have any commissioner items? Any reports, any births, any deaths? Okay, how about staff? Do we have anything, staff?
No updates from staff.
All right, then we are going to adjourn until the regular meeting scheduled for April 10th at 6:30 right here. So we will see you then.